604 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane off and running. Brian here with you. John LaBeouf producing. Getting you ready for a Thursday show. John, are we on?
It seems like it. Let's see. Well, if I'm in external too.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
You got nothing coming out of external too?
No, only when I'm in program one.
Okay. Let's start to work on figuring out what's going on there.
Yeah.
Because if we're not on the air, then what are we doing? Let's solve the problem here. I'll tell you what, talk for a minute, because I'm going to go to, you just start talking. Start talking. I'm going to go down the hall and check the monitor.
No problem. Yeah. So if you can hear us, good morning. Yeah, we're here. We're here. So Facebook, if you can hear us, let me know in the chat as well. Okay, Facebook hears us. Thank you, Galen. Yeah, so just working on through some technical difficulties here. Oh, man. So, yeah, hopefully everyone's doing well this morning. But, yeah, if you do hear me, I do apologize for the inconvenience, because otherwise we're just, I'm talking and you can hear me. Anything?
Now I need to start solving the problem.
Okay, no problem.
Run a live board.
So Facebook can hear us.
All right, well then we'll just start talking. I'll start talking to Facebook while you go ahead and start solving the problem of getting us on the air. All right?
No problem.
All right, so morning, Facebook. What's up to the glorified crew out there? Hey, we got a big show lined up for you today, provided we can get that show on the air. Worst case scenario, we'll just do this for the Facebook audience and the internet audience, as it were, which I'm pulling up right now to see if we're over there as well. The guest list is going to begin at 6:35. Haggai Davis could be in for a cup of tech gumbo there. We're only on Facebook. It's the only spot. I don't have us on the Talk 107.3 mobile app either. So Haggai Davis will be in for a cup of tech gumbo coming up at 6:35. We will have St. George Mayor Dustin Yates at 7:15. Crimestoppers coming your way 7:35, 8 o'clock hour. State Senator Caleb Kleinpeter on the hotline at 8:15. And we're going to wrap up our guest list today with actor Justin Bartha. Who's Justin Bartha, you ask? Well, I know you know him. Most people know him from The Hangover. He was Doug on The Hangover. The groom to be, right? The one who was, spoiler alert, stuck on the roof the whole time. I know him more as Riley Poole from National Treasure, is where we get Justin Bartha from. He's got a new movie coming out tomorrow. It's called Nuked, and it is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. He's in it, and Camp's in it. They got a great cast across the board. A bunch of people that are, relatively not huge names, but just great actors. And then Natasha Leggero, the comedian's in it as well. And she steals the absolute show. It's a fun movie. About a couple turning 40. They share a birthday. Their names are Jack and Jill, and they share a birthday. And they're having their 40th birthday party, and they opt for cannabis infused menu, a THC, a weed menu. So they go with a specialized weed chef, and that's what Natasha Leggero plays as the chef. And somewhere along the way, an alert goes off that there's a nuclear missile headed right towards California, and all bets are off from there. So you still have external open on your side, so that we might know when we're on the air. Okay. All right.
Yeah, production note. Bo's going to give me a call right back. So.
All right. Well, let's just roll, man. Top stories and trending. Let's go.
Number 5.
The chair and CEO of Denver-based Oakview Group, the final firm in consideration to develop LSU's new $400 million arena, has been indicted by the U.S. Department of Justice. They're accused of participating in a bid rigging scheme tied to the development of the Moody Center over in Austin, Texas.
Number 4.
Zachary Police Department arrested 40-year-old Delvecchio Neff, 60-year-old Terry Neff, and 42-year-old Terry Wilson for more than 100 counts of dogfighting and aggravated cruelty to animals. Officers stated that the dogfighting ring was operating out of an address on Baker Boulevard in Baker. They recovered 28 dogs, found treadmills, steroids, vitamins, and protein powder for the animals.
Number 3.
Man suffered a gunshot wound to the stomach Wednesday night on Florida Boulevard. Police said the shooting happened around 1300 Florida Boulevard, same block as the Greyhound bus station. A male sustained a gunshot wound to the stomach. Emergency officials said that person went to the hospital on their own.
Number 2.
St. Gabriel Police Chief Kevin Ambo disputed claims made by the Iberville Parish Sheriff's Office about the circumstances which led to Captain Devin Boutie's murder. Iberville Parish Sheriff's Office and the State Attorney General's Office are investigating Boutie for corruption involving drugs. Sheriff Brett Stasi says he provided weed and meth to his live-in boyfriend and admitted killer Warren Mitchell, which may have been part of his motive.
Number 1.
The officer injured in what police say was a targeted attack on Joe Road had both legs amputated as a result, according to BRPD and his family. Sergeant Caleb Eisworth is still listed in critical condition after BRPD said Gad Black intentionally crashed into him. He needed both legs amputated above the knee as a result. A statement from the police department and family said Eisworth's vitals immediately improved to their best levels thus far. So, not to sound completely callous about it, but traded his legs for a better, better everything else, kind of triaging down right there. Eisworth is still intubated. He is improving daily, the family said. No timetable given for recovery. What you got, John?
Well, the U.S. is sending more weapons to help Ukraine defend itself against Russia. President Trump said, we have to because they are getting hit so hard.
Yeah, not exactly how a puppet acts, huh?
Right.
I mean, if he's Putin's puppet, then what's he doing supplying weapons to the other side? Is that
right?
Are we on?
That's what I'm hearing us echo down the hall. So let's see.
Check the external monitor. Turn your mic off so you can hear it. Now check the external monitor, and we are good to go. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs somewhere. Okay. Well, you tend back to that. I'll get back to the trending stories while you're working on that. And the other things that are trending this morning, new data by the CDC, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, shows that 1 in 3 teens nationwide has pre-diabetes. 1 in 3 teens nationwide has pre-diabetes. In a completely unrelated story, our state's Department of Education is working on revamping their physical education standards. Dr. Brumley over there at Department of Education, while has revamped the literacy and numeracy, reading and math. He worked on history standards as well, and now they're working on PE. They got started at the revamping of the standards started with the last Bessie meeting and will continue through the end of next month. Don't know what's so hard about more dodgeball, but hey, that's what they're working on.
Hey, in other news, recent LSU graduate Lauren Domingue has been selected as one of 16 house guests competing for $750,000 this summer on Big Brother 27.
Let's go. We have an overabundance of reality TV stars in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
Whether you're talking about like the Big Brothers of the world, and we've seen numerous iterations of this in the past, or the American Idols of the world, or the Real World Road Rules. Hey, Theo Vaughn got his start on Road Rules.
Oh, yeah,
You know?
That's true, yeah.
It's
true, yeah. You tend to forget about those things.
It's almost like LSU should create a major for reality TV.
Yeah.
I mean Lauren Domingue could be on her way to earning $750,000. We got a lot of people that go into this business. I don't know why. So
there we go. Yeah.
All right. We're at 6:14 to talk 107.3 FM. Running a little bit long here. Okay, so if you're catching up with us on the air, apologies. We started off the air for some reason or another. Not 100% sure what started, what happened. Shout out to our engineer, Bo Wegman, who is Johnny on the spot this morning.
Lifesaver, man.
Yeah, got us back up and running before the first segment was over with. But now, the first segment is over with. Let's break, come back, talk a little Pelicans next.
Whew. Yeah, not sure what happened. He handled it on his end, though.
Okay. And these
I'm gonna
are
get-
the things you need to start. You need to be like learning how to fix them like in real time.
Yeah, I'll get with Bo when he comes back. Yeah, because I asked him if there was anything I could do. He told me no.
Okay.
That's why I was like, "Was there anything I could do on mine?" He's like, "No."
All right. Well, now I'm gonna go down the hall and turn that volume down.
Yeah,
Because it's blasting.
yeah. Because once I heard it echoing, I was like, "Oh, it must be back on." So if you are joining us on the Facebook chat and you're usually not here, but you've got here because we were dead on air, why don't you just stick around for a while? All right.
Let's see. 617 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. It is sports time here on Talk 107.3 FM, and this morning, oddly enough, we're going to be talking a little NBA basketball in our sports segment as the Pels making some. They're getting ready for summer league action, and in fact, they tip off 2:30 this afternoon out there in Las Vegas against the Timberwolves. The New Orleans Summer League roster is headlined by first-round duo Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen. Last year's first-rounder Yves Misi is in there as well. McNeese forward Christian. You know what? Is that pronounced Schumate or Shumate? He played against Fears in high school. Cut 16, please.
He's good at all areas of the floor. He's a good defender. He's a great passer. He makes plays. You know, he can score the ball at all three levels. I mean, he wouldn't have been went as high as he would have if, you know, it wasn't something there. And I mean, I view him being very highly of a player in the future.
Shumate was part of that McNeese team that's been, well, I mean, he spent the last 4 years in Lake Charles playing under Will Wade, bringing that McNeese Cowboys program up to national prominence. He helped McNeese to back-to-back tournament appearances. He signed with the Pels Summer League roster after graduating.
I've grown to call Louisiana home, and when I found out that I'd be stationed here for the time being as for a summer league, I was really excited. And, you know, I've been through some of the lowest times of my life and some of the highest times of my life in Louisiana. So I'm kind of rooted here, and, you know, it was a full circle moment being able to come back here. And
by the way, scanning through the Pelicans Summer League roster, they picked up Will Baker as well. Remember LSU center Will Baker from a couple of years ago? Yeah, he put up about, 10, 11 points a game while he was at LSU. I saw that on Twitter the other day. So I'm a little bit intrigued by the Pelicans Summer League squad this year, and I'm a lot more intrigued about where they could possibly go in the fall if everyone's healthy, provided everyone's healthy. Isn't that always the caveat when you got Zion Williamson on your team? And not just Zion. Up and down the roster the last few years, all their big names have missed 20 to 30 games a season. So we'll keep an eye on them. right now we're going to keep an eye on the Fox Business Report because it's 6:20 at Talk 107.3. Good morning, Haggai. How are you?
I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
How are you?
Doing well.
Obviously. Morning, John. Do we know what the issue was? What happened? Or
I was getting with Bo, so I don't know. I'll get with him when he comes in just to see if there was anything. But I asked him this morning if there was anything I could do, and he's like, no. So I'm like, okay. So I don't know. Yeah, whatever he did it pretty quick. Yeah, it went from like ABC News to just like nothing. It went the volume was just getting lower and lower. So I don't know what was going on.
I got in the truck and I was driving. You turn on the radio and it's just nothing.
Yeah.
Ooh, wait, did my radio die?
It was like 6:02 and it just started the volume just started decreasing. I'm like, "Oh no, what is going on?"
hit a couple buttons, went to 104.5 and I was playing. I was like,
Well, yesterday we had trouble too with it. Like the afternoon was pretty rough.
I think most of the stations were having problems.
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah, I think it was because we had a producer meeting yesterday and everyone was complaining that the stack just kind of went off and just started playing commercials and it's going haywire, man. It's gonna be all right. It's the great philosopher Kendrick Lamar said, "We're gonna be all right."
Yeah, nothing. And nothing's going on. Your volume on 10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish looks great. Your volume on 12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish looks great. And in 10 eastbound coming over from West Baton Rouge, we're good there as well. I'm not showing any accidents at all on your interstates, and we're also not showing any problems as far as 110's concerned. Both bridges look great. There's no incidents on your surface streets to report right now. I got 0 red on my map. This is about as good of a traffic look as we've had. About the only thing, maybe the only thing out there is if you're on airline headed from Baton Rouge towards Prairieville. Well, I guess it's well before Prairieville, but it looks like there's a little bit of volume on airline at Sherwood. Like that's literally it. We have never looked this good on traffic before, so let's keep it up. .624 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Thanks for hopping on board this morning, y'all. If you were missing out on us in that opening segment when I ran down the rundown, let me give it to you again just to be sure. Haggai Davis, host of Tech Gumbo, going to be in for a cup of Tech Gumbo coming up in our next segment. In the 7 o'clock hour, we check in with St. George Mayor Dustin Yates at 7:15. Crimestoppers coming your way at 7:35. 8 o'clock hour, State Senator Caleb Kleinpeter at 8:15, and then actor Justin Bartha. You know him from The Hangover and National Treasure. He was Doug and Riley Poole, in both those films. Doug in The Hangover, Riley Poole over in National Treasure. So he's got a new movie coming out. Got the chance to talk with him. He's worked in Louisiana a number of times. I always love talking with actors who have worked here in Louisiana. Kind of get a little report card on how we're doing. Although, to be fair, it's been well over a decade since he worked here. When the movie that he was in, filmed in Louisiana, was... Oh, crud, I'm breaking on the name. It starred Matthew McConaughey and Terry Bradshaw and Kathy Bates were Matthew McConaughey's parents. And like Matthew McConaughey was like a serial dater, but couldn't. Failure to Launch. Failure to Launch. That was the name of it. And yeah, it was Justin Bartha was Matthew McConaughey's friend in that one. So he's very familiar with working in New Orleans. He's worked in Baton Rouge as well. So we chat about that a little bit. But that's all coming up later on the show. Hey, before we get into anything else, I want to remind you about the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. They bring you Foodie Friday every week. This week, and I got to check in with them a little bit later on in the morning. But this week we have Chef Peter Sclafani coming on tomorrow. I have no idea what he's bringing in, no idea what he's cooking, no idea what we got going on. I just know that when Chef Peter's in the house, good things are happening. So seriously looking forward to tomorrow's Foodie Friday, which is always presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. You can check them out online at beefitswhatsfordinner.com, beefitswhatsfordinner.com. While you're on that website, learn all about the nutritional aspects of beef. Look, food is fuel. And beef brings you the vitamin and nutrients to fuel you at all stages of life. Whether you're talking about the protein, the iron, the 10 vitamins and nutrients, they've got you covered on all fronts. Beef is what's for dinner.com. And, of course, they bring you Foodie Friday every week right here on Talk 107.3 FM. This caught my eye, and I'm really, really, really not surprised. The researchers over at Colorado State University are saying, let's scale things back a little bit. We are a month and 10 days into hurricane season, and it looks like the forecast is going to be downgraded a little bit. They were predicting before the season started an above average hurricane season. However, it is looking like the temperatures in the Atlantic aren't as high as they thought they would be at this point in the year. And then you got the Saharan dust sitting over, making its way over from Africa. That's kind of curbing things on the front end of the season. We have already this year had 3 named storms. None of them have affected anything. And where we're at right now, we're sitting pretty. So Phil Klotzbach, Dr. Klotzbach, and his team over there at Colorado State University are now saying expect 16 named storms over the course of the year. 8 hurricanes, 3 major hurricanes. Now, that's 1 less major hurricane than the school's initial prediction. I'm sorry, that's 1 less storm on each level. Like 1 less named storm, 1 less hurricane, 1 less major on each level. So they're downgrading just a little bit. That does leave us with a slightly above average season. But the downgrade was certainly noticed. And it's just another reminder that predicting the future is it's never going to be an exact science. There's a lot of science that goes into it. And they get pretty close. But the closer they get, the more accurate they can get. So rather than sitting on their previous prediction, they amend the prediction as you get, closer to it, especially when it comes to forecasting the weather. There's no way to know for certain in April or May what the weather's going to be like in September. They do their level best. They take all the data that's out there, all the available variables, and give you their best level guess. And it is an educated guess, very, very educated guess, but it's still a guess nonetheless. So rather than sit on their previous prediction, Colorado State yesterday tweaked the prediction for the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. The probability that the major storm would make landfall in the U.S., it remains right where it was, though. So if there is a major storm, with the prediction that there will be a major storm, that does still remain that it would head towards the United States. Reading from the Advocate's version of the story, CSU now predicts the season. Hang on. The primary reason for the forecast change is both the observed and predicted high levels of Caribbean wind shear. While high wind shear in June and July is generally associated with less active hurricane seasons, CSU researchers said there are still conditions that are conducive to hurricane formation and intensification. So the Atlantic, while it is not, it's a couple degrees off of where they thought it would be, it is still warmer than normal. But nonetheless, we're a month and 10 days into the season. So we got a long, long way to go. And even if they narrow down their predictions by more as the season wears on, you know the old adage, how many hurricanes does it take to make it an awful season? Just the one that hits you. 6:30, Cup of Tech Gumbo's next on Talk 107.3. Galen says President Joe Biden's former White House physician invoked his Fifth Amendment rights on Wednesday to avoid answering questions as part of the House Republican investigation into Biden's health and office. Hashtag rotten. Yes, and you're going to hear about that on every national show today. So that's we don't do the national politics very often around here. By the way, shouldn't that be protected information? Yeah.
Not allow.
Okay, I thought so. I was listening to it on the Fox Rundown this morning. At like 4:30 this morning?
I just don't do conspiracies. I'm sorry.
Well, I believe they covered up his health. I 100% believe.
I don't disagree.
But like,
But that's not the first president that they've ever done that for.
right.
I mean, we keep electing these, these decrepit, ancient old bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm sure they're covering a lot of Trump's health issues. You're going to tell me that man doesn't have health issues too?
I don't know. They're not visible.
You hit that age and you're going to have medical issues.
Mm.
It's just a fact of life.
Coming off of Biden, though, you're talking about apples and bowling balls, though. I mean,
Okay.
he
so-
physically could not do the job. Ronald Reagan was old. He did the job just fine. George Herbert Walker Bush was old. He did the job just fine. Bill Clinton had a job done to him.
and left his mark all over the White House.
He
Yes.
did.
Especially the Oval Office.
Yes.
And a blue dress.
You don't go into the White House with a black light. But okay, so I was rewatching some West Wing, and I'm curious, when did it become like, when did the nation start paying attention to the president's health? Did anybody know anything about Abraham Lincoln's health?
Before John Wilkes Booth?
Well, of course. But didn't we learn through like biographies and whatnot that he had some kind of degenerative disease?
Maybe. But yeah, we learn most of the time about their health after they're out of office.
Abraham Lincoln, who had an awkward, uncoordinated gait, is believed to have suffered from SCA5. Earlier studies had identified genetic mutations, blah, 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 blah. I'm curious as to how many Americans knew that FDR was even in a wheelchair.
Very few.
Right. I just, at some point along the way, it's like each and every minute aspect. Now, again, Joe Biden was not fit to do the job at all.
Agreed.
At all. And when you don't have your elected leader and the auto pin stuff, I agree with as well. But like, I'm sorry, the auto pin stuff, I agree that the conspiracy was there as well. You got other people signing his name and shit. That's a coup. But somewhere along the way, we started paying attention to the president's health at a greater clip than ever before. And that's the part I don't understand.
And there's a lot of people who will tell you that Ronald Reagan's health in his last year in office was not good.
Right.
And I remember everybody, Nancy Reagan was pulling all the strings and running the White House kind of stuff. Whether or not that was true or not, but I remember hearing all of those things.
See, I don't know if I buy that because Reagan had so many, he toured a lot after he was president. He spoke publicly a lot after he was president. Oh no, Christy's going through it with her mom as well. It's awful. It's the absolute worst. It absolutely is. But that wasn't the case when Reagan was in office.
Well, we don't know.
I mean, hell, John F. Kennedy had Addison's disease.
That's they're you elect people in their 70s and they've got issues. 70s and 80s, people have medical problems. It's just genetically the facts.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I bring up Kennedy, because he was much younger.
Yeah.
So.
But those were issues Kennedy's most of his life. That wasn't something he picked up later on in life.
Right. I'm just saying.
Oh no.
If Kennedy ran now, that would be the lead every day. 638. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We got a busy show coming your way throughout the morning. We are at 74 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge right about now. Since it is such a busy morning, let's not waste any further time here. We get to a cup of tech gumbo. Let's go. What's happening, Haggai? How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Before we get going, I do want to let you know I'm going to be on a panel live on LinkedIn this morning at 11 o'clock. Nancy Ellis, our friend from Rotary.
Okay.
She's got a panel of 5 guests,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence based upon the generation you're from. So there's going to be a Gen Z, a Gen X, the millennial, and the crotchety old you-know-what-me from the baby boomers. And where does AI fit into each of our profiles kind of thing, and how should we be using it? So LinkedIn Live, go find Nancy Ellis and check us out.
Okay. Now, I'm going to be totally Gen X here for a minute.
Yeah.
Because you bring up boomers and AI,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to dial it back to the late 90s for my reference here. Remember when, on Seinfeld, when he got his dad the personal assistant thing,
Yeah.
and all his dad thought was, it's a tip calculator? It's a tip calculator! Hey, break out the tip calculator. Let him know. And when I think of boomers and AI, that's immediately where my mind goes.
So I do a lot of presentations to different civic groups around town, and I've done 2 of them now to groups of seniors
Mm-hmm.
at 60s, 70s, and even a few 80s, and they were all fascinated by it. They're much more interested to learn about it than the younger generations because they know nothing about it. Number one,
Right.
and hey, what can it do? And is it something they're interested to learn? They're afraid to touch it and play with it, but it's very fascinating.
Yes. And but therein lies the difference, right? They're afraid to use it.
Yes,
They,
but once you show
but they
them,
want to learn what's there and then not mess with it ever again.
no, because once you show them, hey, how many of you know how to use Google? And they all raise their hand. They've all been Googling things for 20 years, and then you pull it up, Google's Gemini or ChatGPT and say, okay, ask it a question. What question do you want to? And take questions from the audience, and you type that question in, and boom, it gives them the answer, and they're like, oh, well, that's pretty easy. And all of a sudden now they're a lot less afraid of it.
See, SNL did a sketch on that too. It was like Alexa for senior citizens.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. The
hadn't watched SNL since the 80s. So.
I'll forward you the sketch. It
Please
is
do.
hilarious. I tell you what, we'll watch it during the break.
Okay, cool.
It is absolutely hilarious. And it's true the way it plays out, because the way we all utilize AI is kind of adaptive to where we're at in life.
Well, I use the references. What decade did you go to high school?
Mm-hmm.
So if you went to high school in the 50s, okay, you never even made it to the technology island. You went to high school in the 70s like I did. Okay, I'm an immigrant to the technology island. I'm on the island, but I had to learn everything. If you went to high school in the 90s, you had the internet already.
Not in high school.
Not
It existed.
It existed.
But it didn't. It wasn't.
And
It didn't
no, it
permeate.
wasn't in the classrooms,
Right.
but a lot of people were starting to get their computers and start. If you went to high school after the 2000s, well, you were born with, the internet kind of thing.
Right.
And so, it just, where were you when, and it's another way of saying that, how old, what decade kind of thing, but it's a better reference when people go, oh, well, yeah, I was in high school in the 60s. Okay, yeah, you know how to use Facebook. Good job.
Yes.
And that's your reference to technology kind of
But
thing.
that's just how immersed you were at the time, though. I'm talking about what triggers are in your mind to make it apply.
It becomes more of how inquisitive are you? Are you just
Mhm.
happy going along with what you've been doing your whole life and don't need something new? Or are you willing to try something? Hey, that looks interesting. I'll go play with that. And there are lots of differences in the generations. When you're in your 60s, 70s, 80s right now, you've gone most of your life without having anything more than playing on Facebook to see what your grandkids are doing.
Right.
You're not going to be coding or doing something heavy lifting like that. You're sending emails and those, but the younger you are, the more likely you are using complicated spreadsheets to plan things out and whatnot. And so it's just very interesting. Where were you when as in high school, and what did you do? What are you doing now?
Right.
Did you immigrate to the technology island, or did you stay back in the
Or-
land where you came from?
Were
where
you born in it? Molded by it?
Yeah, it's
Not to go all Bane on it, but it's if you were born into. Because I got my first email address in 1996. Got my first Yahoo email address, and I still have that email address, by the way. I never use it. You know where I use it? When I go to check out at a store and they ask me what my email address is, I'll give them that one.
okay.
And sitting there on my phone, 13,600 other emails. It's the 13,605 unread emails, and that's like I'll go through and delete thousands of them at a time. Not even look at them. Don't care.
All right.
Don't care. The only time I actually care is like if there's something that's connected to something I would have kept this whole time, which I don't know that I have, other than my bank account, which I moved over anyway.
So the first computer I got was in 1992.
Okay.
And I had my 2.4 baud modem and America Online.
Ooh.
So yes, I've been on the internet for a long time.
Did you get the disc in the mail?
Oh Oh yeah, no, it wasn't even in the mail. You bought it at the store, and you had
Oh
because you had to
man.
buy the $9.95 an hour kind of thing. You got the first couple of hours free, and then you were
And if somebody picked up the telephone, you were screwed.
oh, absolutely,
You were off.
absolutely. Well, I didn't have kids yet, so
Okay.
I didn't have that problem.
That's
My wife was in graduate school, and she was studying the whole time, so I went and played.
that's yeah. I see. There's part of I miss part of that. Those were the good old days of the internet because you needed purpose.
Oh yeah,
It's so easy and so convenient now. You're just there in perpetuity. Like if you were on the internet, you were likely either checking your email or downloading a song on Napster.
so when I got that first computer, I've told the story before, but I did a search for Haggai Davis, see what's out there, and it comes back with a link for Haggai David,
Ooh.
and like, oh, I send the guy, click on, hey Haggai, my name's Haggai, and it goes back and forth a couple of times, and this, it'd go, and then 5 or 10 minutes later, I'd get a response back, nothing immediate,
Right.
but I said, okay, I've got to ask, what has life been like for you growing up with the name Haggai? A few minutes later, I get a response, what do you mean? And so I respond, here in South Louisiana, there's only two, me and my dad.
Right.
And he responds back, well, here in Israel, Haggai's a very popular name.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time I'm thinking I'm talking to somebody maybe in Dallas or Atlanta
Right.
at the furthest. I'm talking to some guy in Israel, and this is 1992, and it's just one of those epiphany moments in life where the light bulb goes on, and
Where you realize the World Wide Web was worldwide.
don't miss out on this opportunity.
Right.
Jump on this wave and let's start surfing.
And now it's expected.
Yes.
Now I expect everybody I interact with is on the other side of the world or a bot.
Absolutely. And that's only been 32 years. And that's how far this has all gone.
All right, and that's where we're gonna have to break it right here. He's Haggai Davis. We do a cup of tech gumbo this time every week. We'll pick it up on the back end of the break. On air, Your Money Now and traffic coming your way on Facebook Live. You'll get Haggai's reaction to a great SNL sketch. After the commercial, obviously.
That's good.
Brilliant sketch.
Yeah.
Angela played black jazz.
So which story you want to talk about?
I'm torn on this one.
The Kids Off Social Media Act?
I feel like the Microsoft stuff is just way too like inside baseball.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bipartisan bill. You have to be 18 to get on social media. It's like the last story.
Yeah, no, it was the your company's annoying anti-phishing training is probably a huge waste of time and money.
That was a fascinating article.
It was. That was actually the
We can go there.
okay.
I even sent that article to our cybersecurity team to say, hey, boys, y'all are one telling us to go sell this stuff. What do you think of this? And they were like, it's probably true. Oh, okay.
652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got Haggai Davis in for Cup of Tech Gumbo as we do every Thursday. Haggai, let's talk fishing with a PH,
Yes.
or I should say anti-fishing.
Yes.
Also still with a PH. You had sent me over a story that I found fascinating from start to finish. The headline reads, "Your company's annoying anti-phishing training, probably a huge waste of time and money." And I'm like, well, I mean, we all need to have a level of awareness, right? And then as I started reading it, I'm like, this is spot on. Tell me all about it.
Okay, so a Purdue University professor did a research project, 12,000 employee company.
Mm-hmm.
They broke it into three groups. 1/3 had zero training, 1/3 had to watch a 15-minute video, and 1/3 had to watch the 15-minute video and some additional training
Mm-hmm.
as to how to spot, what to do, what not to do. And then they tracked over the next 6 months. They started sending out phishing emails
Mm-hmm.
designed to say who's going to click on what. You would think, well, the group that had the 15-minute video and training would know better. They clicked on the most phishing emails.
Crazy.
The group that had zero training actually did the best.
Yeah.
The group that had a 15-minute video, they did okay. It helped a little bit, but not much. It turned out that the group that had the 15-minute video with the training had a false sense of security. Well, I've been trained. I know how to spot phishing emails
Right.
now. And yes, 10 years ago, you could spot the phishing emails easily because of all the grammatical errors and everything that was in it. But AI is generating most of the phishing emails nowadays. And AI doesn't have that kind of grammatical problem. So when you're sitting in Russia or North Korea or wherever you're generating all this crap from, you can AI can generate it for you and make the language look right. And all the images are correct. And so you're much less likely to be able to spot that phishing email and click on links. And then all of a sudden, we got you kind of thing.
So did any part of this, or this is the part that I wish the story would have picked up on, did any part of this include where people have been scammed outside of phishing emails?
No, it didn't go into that.
Because I believe that there's just some people have a nature to believe, and they become a mark very, very quickly.
Going to click on everything.
Right. They're going to click on everything. They're going to respond to alarming ads on TV. They're going to take the phone call that says, if you don't give me your credit card number now, the police are coming in your door. Like it's not the training. It's something about the nature of the person that believe they're the person.
I love my mom. She's almost 90 years old. She loves to, pictures of the Blue Danube and pictures from Bavaria and all this kind of stuff. When she gets those emails, she forwards them out to all the kids. Hey, look at this. Go click on this video. And you're like, no, Mom, don't. So all of the kids know and the grandkids know when Gigi sends something to you, just delete it.
Delete it. Yeah.
And I've had to rebuild my mom's computer multiple times because she's clicked on things and infected the whole computer and everything. And that's why we use, a backup for the whole system. Note, good idea. Back up your parents' PCs for them.
Okay, fair. It's a good note right there.
But it's really fascinating to see. This was a true, college level professor doing studies that when you have with 12,000 employees, this is not, hey, this was 6 people in one little focus group.
Mm-hmm.
That's a significant number when you've got that many people who think they know better, and they were trained, but they did the worst.
Right. And that's the part that I think needs to be broken down even further into how many of those people are natural skeptics.
Right.
If you take the natural skeptic and give them the training, that's probably who's going to do the best. If you take someone who is going to get scammed in real life or on the phone or get the text message that says, hey, I'm in a meeting right now. I need you to run and get 100 Home Depot gift cards.
The voice message, Grandma, I'm in jail. Please send me bail money.
Right.
Sure.
They're going to believe that, training or no, they're going to believe that in every form of every aspect of life.
Right.
That being said, where does that leave the companies? The companies who are doing the anti-phishing training, do they have to modify or adapt or re-up or double down or what?
So training is good if you're using it, in my opinion, as awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Filtering is much better, and that's going to do a much better job. The filters that are modern day, they know how to look for these scams, these phishing scams. The AI in the filters know how to spot this much better than you, the human. And they can run the simulations, they can run the links, see where it takes you, and will capture most of these things before it ever gets to your inbox. So if you're running a business, if you're making the decisions about your IT, you should definitely be using a filter. Is much more in the training. And look, phishing training is $1, couple of bucks at the most per employee, so it's not a lot of money.
Right.
But it's also not going to give you as much as you hoping that it will. It's much more you're being proactive with the endpoint detection and response, and then also filtering will do so much more to protect you, your company, your employees, you at home, any of those kinds of things when you're using email, because these links are going to come through, and the scammers are out there, and they're really, really good nowadays. It's hard to tell the difference.
Coming out of the training, I think you have probably about 3 weeks, right? Maybe a month. Coming out of the training, maybe a month where you stay on that high alert.
If that, maybe.
If that.
What was Coretta Scott King said, we're a 2-week society. We can't remember anything past 2 weeks.
That's fair.
And so, yes, if you can get somebody, and even when you send out the phishing emails and people click on it, you send the reports, hey, look, you clicked on all these. Oh, did I? Okay, well, I'll try not to do that again.
Right.
And
but you're going to.
Yes.
You're going to, because it was your nature before the training, it was your nature after the training.
And that's why either one of two things. You use a filter to help try and catch that before it gets to that employee, or you just don't allow links to go through.
He is Haggai Davis. You get your full serving of Tech Gumbo Saturdays and Sundays here on Talk 107.3 FM or anywhere you can download it on demand. Always appreciate the time, Haggai.
Thanks, Brian.
We got it's heads up 7 o'clock. Hour 2's heading your way next. Oh. No. Okay. What you say? Got one more quick segment to bang out before you, and then we'll get into it. Did you see that email about there's like some kind of Rotary Leadership Day coming up in New Orleans in a couple weeks?
I didn't know what that was, so I deleted it.
Okay. I couldn't tell if it's legit or not. I mean, because it looks like there's.
Yeah.
Well,
That's why I deleted it.
okay.
It looked good, but when the date, it didn't. When you said the date, it didn't not have a date.
When you, so I clicked on the individual PDF, because there's one that says here's all of them, and there's one that says here's NOLA. Right. It's Saturday, July 25th. Same. So I can't go anyway, but like, yeah, this had all the warning signs of it coming from someplace.
I just deleted it.
All right.
When are you going on vacation?
I'm not. I'm only going to miss one day of work as of now. I'm probably going to take my vacation days 1 and 2 days at a time. Dude, I've got 2 months of vacation because it just keeps rolling over, and I never take it. And I'm really burnt out. I'm so tired all the time.
Sure. Well, you sleep 3 hours a night. What the
I
hell?
know.
Can't imagine being tired. 3 hours sleep.
So.
And I'm a crotchety old bastard. I need my 6.5 hours of sleep.
The plan was to do like 4 days with the RV and take 3 days where I'm just off. Well, that got revamped, so now I'm taking 1 day off with the RV, like for that Friday heading into that weekend. As soon as the show's over with, I'm out of here, going to pick up the RV. We're actually going down the road to like Roberts. They got some great RV park there.
Okay.
There's a water park in it, so I'll satisfy all contracts so that I can, be paid for my efforts. I'm taking off that Monday. David St. Ray's going to fill in for me, and then I'll be back on Tuesday. And then after that, August 1st. What day of the week is August 1st?
Friday.
Shit.
I'm in Seattle.
Okay. I have to take off on August 1st because we're moving Carrie into
The dorm
at Southern Miss.
So we're leaving July 24th, flying to Seattle to rent an RV, go across the state of Washington, Idaho, Montana, up into Canada to Banff, back to Vancouver. My nephew's getting married August 2nd, which is a Saturday, so that's how I knew it was Friday. So we'll be 11 days, 12 days away kind of stuff.
I'm going to figure out what to do on August 1st, and then after that, it's just probably not going to take anything else until Labor Day, because contractually I'm obligated to be here like through different clients. Like Mondays are in the lake, Fridays I got Beef Industry Council through Labor Day. Like where's my time off? Tuesdays and Wednesdays I've got DC Car presented by LABI. Like I can't pick and choose a day without missing out on something that. I'll figure them out. I'll figure them out as we move forward.
So, all right, Haggai. Have a good one. Good to see you.
Well, I'll wait until leave Beckham to me up there.
We gotta knock out a big announcement. John, I'm sorry, with all the confusion this morning. You sure?
Absolutely.
It's got to go off precise. Okay. Big announcement.
It's not like that. It's not that big, but it's
What time is this now? Is this coming up?
Yeah, right after top stories.
Yeah, literally, I was just going through it and make sure everything was queued up.
Damn it. .705 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. John LaBeouf producing. We got a busy second hour for you. By the way, starting off your second hour at 75 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Busy second hour for you here. We've got the mayor of St. George, Dustin Yates, in the house. He will be with us in our next segment, and then we'll have Crimestoppers after that. Lieutenant Don Capola will be coming by for 7:35. Don't forget, coming up in our 8 o'clock hour, State Senator Caleb Kleinpeter at 8:15, and then actor Justin Bartha at 8:40, I guess, technically. All right, we got a lot to get to, so let's get right to it. Top stories and trending. Let's go. Board when we
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Get to this side.
Yep.
Of things.
Number 5.
The chair and CEO of Denver-based Oakview Group, the final firm in consideration to develop LSU's new $400 million arena, has been indicted by the U.S. Department of Justice. They're accused of participating, or the CEO is accused of participating in a bid rigging scheme tied to the development of the Moody Center over in Austin, Texas.
Number 4.
The Zachary Police Department arrested 40-year-old Delvecchio Neff, 60-year-old Terry Neff, and 42-year-old Terry Wilson for more than 100 counts of dogfighting and aggravated cruelty to animals. Officers stated the dogfighting ring was operating out of a spot on Baker Boulevard in Baker. They recovered 28 dogs, found treadmills, steroids, vitamins, protein powder for the animals.
Number 3.
A man suffered a gunshot wound to the stomach Wednesday night on Florida Boulevard. Police said the shooting happened around the 1300 block of Florida Boulevard. That's the same block as the Greyhound bus station, by the way. A male sustained a gunshot wound to the stomach. Emergency officials said the person went to the hospital on their own.
Number 2.
St. Gabriel Police Chief Kevin Ambo disputed claims made by the Iberville Parish Sheriff's Office about the circumstances which led to Captain Devin Bootie's murder. Iberville Parish Sheriff's Office and the State Attorney General's Office are investigating Bootie for corruption involving drugs. Sheriff Brett Stassi says he provided weed and meth to his live-in boyfriend and admitted killer Warren Mitchell, which might have been part of Mitchell's motive.
Number 1.
Got the latest on BRPD officer Caleb Eisworth, the officer who was injured in what police say was a targeted attack on Jewel Road. Sergeant Caleb Eisworth had both legs amputated as a result of his injuries. But that's the bad news. The good news is, upon amputation of both legs, a statement from both the police department and his family said that Eisworth's vitals immediately improved to their best levels. Quote, doctors are cautiously optimistic that this was the hurdle that will allow Sergeant Eisworth to heal, the statement said. He is still intubated, but he is improving daily. All right, John.
Well, Brian, let's let it ride out a little bit.
Yeah,
but you've got some breaking news that's going to be trending before the day is over.
Darn right I do. Let that breathe a minute.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney is officially hitting the road this year, and New Orleans is on the map for this. Got the email last night. The music icon, the member of the Beatles, Paul McCartney, is coming to New Orleans for his Got Back tour. Going to be coming to the Smoothie King Center. He will be there on Wednesday, October 29th. You don't have to wait long to get in line for this one, by the way. Tickets for the New Orleans show, pre-sale will begin on July 15th at 10 a.m. General public tickets will be available starting Friday, July 18th at 10 a.m. The Got Back Tour, just reading from the article, the Got Back Tour has already earned a reputation for delivering nearly 3 hours of music, complete with state-of-the-art visuals and a band that has toured with him for over 20 years. By the way, the last time McCartney was in New Orleans was in 2019. Folks are expecting this one to sell out quickly, and I got to tell you, New Orleans has been picking up some big, big wins. Now, that being said, they're supposed to get Billy Joel, and he had to cancel that tour.
Oh.
Joel canceled the whole tour, so this is going to fill in nicely for the Smoothie King Center. But, I mean, we talked to New Orleans and Company, monthly, maybe sometimes twice a month?
Right.
Because they've had so much going on. There's the big one. Paul McCartney coming back to New Orleans for the first time in half a decade.
Very good stuff.
Yep, very, very good. And that's a look at what's trending. Hey, we're going to talk with St. George Mayor Dustin Yates coming up in just a little bit. Before we take our break, though, I want to remind you about the folks over at Landmark Bank. You can check them out online at landmarkbankla.com. Landmarkbankla.com is the website. That's where you'll find the entire list of locations. That's where you'll find the entire list of services. Whether you're talking about your personal banking, checking, savings, borrowing, or talking about your business. You want to start a business, you already own a business, you want a bank that's a little bit closer to you in the surrounding area around Baton Rouge. Landmark Bank started in 1897 as a community bank. And in 2025, they remain a community bank. Learn more about them, their capabilities, what they can do for you. Don't just have a bank, have a banker. LandmarkBankLA.com. Quick break. We talk with St. George next. Come on over, man. Oh, how are you, sir?
Doing well.
You doing good? I texted Drew since he got the new mayor pro tem. I'm like, you want to come on? He's like, call the mayor first. I was like, all right, fine.
What are we going to talk about?
Obviously, the OSS stuff.
Okay, good.
Nod to Drew as well. Talking about getting like what his role is there as mayor pro tem. But just an overall update. I mean, y'all been blowing and going, man.
Yep, it's been busy. We got most of our contracts in place now. We got our last big contract. That'll go out for RFP here the next few days for Public Works, but by the fall we'll have everything kind of in place. We'll be fully operational, and
Love that.
it's been a journey. Make sure when we talk about OSS, and I'll bring it up, but WAFB did a story on it, and they refer to them as a security patrol. That's not what they do.
Oh, see, the way BRZ, I read the BRZ version.
Okay.
So, they refer to it as a contract to add civilian responders that respond to non-injury or minor injury crashes to streamline response times.
Traffic accidents. It's a traffic management company, essentially.
713 to Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Getting to Mayor Dustin Yates in just a quick second. Do need to remind you, tomorrow night out at Pete Goolsbee Field, enjoy a VIP experience with the Talk 107.3 team and the Baton Rouge Rougarou. The Rougarou will be welcoming in the Acadiana Cane Cutters Friday, July 11th. That is tomorrow night. Food from Raising Cane's and beverages will be provided. Register today under the contest page at talk1073.com. I'll be out there. John, you going?
Oh man, I can't.
That's all right. It's all right. No worries at all.
So I'm just gonna just full transparency here. I've got it's Nerf night tomorrow, so I'm in youth ministry and things like that, and I've got about 20 kids. Expecting to go all out tomorrow for Nerf night.
I wish you would have brought this up sooner. We could arrange to have the whole crew go out to Goolsbee Field. That would have been a hell of a night for them, right? Shoving Raising Cane's down their throats. I mean, chicken fingers, Texas toast, Rougarou baseball, run the bases. Well, dizzy bat race, maybe.
Oh man,
bro, up your game.
I know.
All good, all good. But we'll be out there tomorrow night. You can still register at talk1073.com. All right, time to focus in on business. The folks out in St. George have been busy. Mayor Dustin Yates is in with us now. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
Doing very well. You have been super busy of late. A lot going on in St. George. Obviously, the headlines are about this OSS, this on-scene service. We're going to get to that in a minute, but I want the overview first of everything that's gotten done over, let's say, the last 3-4 months or so.
Yeah, so as you well know, this last week we actually sat the first elected council for St. George. So we had our first meeting, so that was exciting. They named, elected amongst themselves their new mayor pro tem, Drew Merle. So first mayor pro tem in the history of St. George. We say that a lot right now. First of
everything, yeah.
That's right. Other than that, we've been finalizing all of our contracts. So hopefully by the fall, we'll have all of our major contracts in place, and we'll be really fully operational from everything from cutting grass to cleaning drains to all of our administrative contracts.
So are we through the part now of sifting through what is EBR's and versus what is y'all's as far as responsibilities are concerned?
Yeah, we're still working through that. The public works piece is really the last big piece for that, because when you're talking about public works, you're talking about rights and ownership of the roads and the drainage and the servitudes and all those things. So still working through that process. So that'll be another several months.
Okay. Well, you mentioned cutting grass. That's that. This time of year the grass don't wait around for the contract. So
no, that's correct, and that's really important for us in St. George. We want to make sure that grass is cut and our trash is picked up and it looks nice.
We've got Mayor Dustin Yates in with us talking about what the latest is in St. George. The Mayor Pro Tem in St. George, Drew Morrell. What are the roles of the Mayor Pro Tem within y'all's form of government?
Sure. So our council is really going to be set up a little bit differently, not just the Mayor Pro Tem, but all of them. And we'll adopt a resolution probably at our next meeting that kind of defines those roles. But for Drew particularly, his main focus will be policy, legal review. Obviously, we're going to lean on his legal background,
lawyer,
which is great for us. But he's going to be kind of right there with me, establishing policy, agenda-based items, things like that. And then I think that position will morph over time. As far as the other council members go, every council person will be assigned kind of their area of expertise, to create a little bit more ownership for them, feel like they have a larger piece in what we're doing as a city. So you'll have a council person that's kind of the head person for our planning and zoning. You'll have a council person, actually there'll be two of them that'll be kind of assigned to public works. There'll be somebody assigned to the school effort this next year. So instead of kind of spreading it out over 7 folks, everybody will be involved in it to a certain degree, but each person will kind of be a point person for a particular area of concern for the city.
This isn't being written into anything, though. This is just kind of adapting to who's there, right?
Oh, it's adapting to those who are there, but we're actually going to adopt a resolution defining those roles and responsibilities. That way, not only is it smart on our end for the process development in our city, but also the citizens know. So if they have a question about public works, if they have a question about planning and zoning, there'll be that particular contact council folk or person there that can handle those questions and concerns.
Why I ask, because when it comes time to elect new people,
sure.
Looking ahead into the future,
oh yeah,
you don't want to have if let's take David DeLucci for example. Is someone going to have his same skill set to run for that office?
Sure, yeah.
Or does it just go back to being a regular council office?
Yeah, this is going to be something that's going to be adapted every year.
Gotcha.
So it's not anything that's set in stone for eternity. It's something that we're going to look at and review every year, and if we have to, sooner than a year, because the roles and responsibilities and what the city is going to need is going to change over time.
Talk about that for a little bit. Is building in flexibility? How difficult is that? Because you're at the time, like we said, we're doing the first for everything out there,
sure.
right? How do you build in flexibility?
I think the way you build in flexibility is that you don't build real stringent parameters around things, and you don't build walls around it. So everything we do right now at this point has to be flexible. We have to be able to change, without having to go through a huge bureaucratic process in order to do that.
Right.
So that flexibility is huge for
us. Y'all moved out of the fire station.
We did. So we moved all our administrative staff to our new building. So we were fortunate enough to find a building within the friendly confines of the city of St. George. We're actually temporarily leasing a spot there now. So all of our administrative staff has moved over there. It's 11207 Proverbs Avenue. Hopefully by the end of the month that the purchase will be finalized, and we will take control over that whole building. So that will be our city hall.
So this is it's basically off Coursey, right?
That's correct. It's on off of Sherwood Common. So for those of you that don't know, it's in between Coursey and Airline Highway.
Oh, I know right where that's at. I thought this was further up. Okay, sorry, I thought this was further Coursey, like further towards Jones Creek. But no, it's I know right where you're talking about now. 11207 Proverbs Avenue. It's looking at Sherwood Common. I know right where you're talking about. My daughter's basketball is her trainer's right over there.
Yep.
So We got Mayor Dustin Yates in with us. Okay, let's get to the big news that came out this week, and that is picking up on-scene services. Talk to me a little bit about what on-scene services is and what their role is going to be within St. George.
Sure. On Scene Services is a Louisiana company. They started out of the Mandeville area. And what they do is they provide traffic management resources to municipalities. So currently in the state, they're operating in New Orleans. They've been operating out of New Orleans for several years. They also have operations in Baltimore and also several other large cities in the country. So really speaking, we are the smallest municipality that they've ever worked with. And what they do is exactly what the name. It's a traffic management company. So in lieu of a sheriff's officer or state police responding to minor accidents on the roadway, this company responds to those accidents. They write the report. They facilitate the processing of the report. Now, all these reports are reviewed and approved by law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, what it does is that it allows our law enforcement partners to do law enforcement work. 95% of all car accidents are civil actions. You don't have to have a law enforcement person there to actually process these reports. And that being said, all the people that work for OSS are retired or former law enforcement officers. The minimum qualifications to work there is that you have to have a minimum of 5 years of law enforcement experience, specifically in traffic and patrol. So these folks are all very well versed in all those things. But the main reason why we really did it, Brian, is that we don't have our own municipal police department.
Right.
We partner with the sheriff's office. We partner with state police, and that's great. And a lot of times our law enforcement partners are tied down in these civil actions, especially in our area. Just in the city of St. George, we have between 5,000 and 7,000 traffic accidents a year. And when you multiply that by average time on scene to an hour and a half, 2 hours, you're looking at 14,000 man hours in our city that are tied up on something that you don't need somebody necessarily there.
Mm-hmm.
That is a post-certified person. So the idea is that not only to create an expedited service for these folks that are involved in accidents on our roadways, but also allow our law enforcement partners to get back to what they really want to do, and that is patrol our streets and provide their law enforcement expertise into areas that can also have a positive impact on our people.
Let's talk about how important that law enforcement background is within OSS, because I think just the everyday person would look at something like this and say, why am I respecting this vehicle? Why am I respecting this person that's inside this vehicle when they roll up on a scene at an accident? What does OSS bring to the table that commands that respect right out the blocks?
Well, what they've done in New Orleans and, has been, especially interesting to us. They've integrated so well with the New Orleans Police Department there. They haven't had any issues, as far as processing these type of accidents, processing, these incidents there. So I think they're going to bring a great level of professionalism to the table.
Mm-hmm.
They've been great to work with so far. I think there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve here because it's something new and something different.
Right.
So as a city, we'll have to do a great job of education. And we're going to have ride-alongs done with our media partners so everybody sees what they do and feels comfortable with what they do.
Okay.
And I think once they get started, which will be about 60 days from now, it'll take a few months for it to really sink in. But I think at the end of the day, people are going to really appreciate the service.
So I started reading up on them after Tuesday's meeting. Once I heard about OSS, I started reading up on them a little bit. It's the specialization for me. Yeah. It's the fact that this is what they do. This is what they do. This is all they do. They're not going to be answering, like, if you have to call 911, you're not getting OSS on the scene. You're getting the sheriff's office on the scene for that, or state police, depending on where you are. But what my reading up on it, and like it's limited to what was available online.
Sure.
But my reading up on it was, this is what they're trained on. They do this better than anybody because this is all they do.
This is it. So their sole focus is traffic management.
Mm-hmm.
I think over time they'll probably assist the city with some code enforcement things and possibly some parking things. But remember this, that they're being dispatched by the sheriff's office. So that was one of the big concerns that folks had. Well, what if it's a real emergency? Well, they're being dispatched by the sheriff's office communication folks. So there's a general understanding there that they're not going to be dispatched as something that needs law enforcement people there. They're being dispatched to things that are civil issues, that are things that don't necessarily need somebody there with a badge and a gun.
Right.
And the thing about it too is that OSS is tied into the sheriff's office. So all the radios, all the communication is tied into the sheriff. So if something does happen while they're there and they need sheriff's office response, it's as simple as them clicking up their radio, calling the sheriff, and those folks will be there.
Well, yes, and it's going to be a different call to 911 for that. I mean, there's a different call between the call that comes in and says, I wasn't paying attention and I bumped into somebody's, bumped into the car in front of me, versus this guy's coming at me with a baseball bat now. Those are two entirely different phone calls.
No question.
And we'll get two different responses from 911's, from emergency responders, dispatch is going to be completely different there. And the same is true if there's injuries involved.
Sure.
So walk me through how we patch OSS in to all the other pieces, parts. How does that work in other places?
So it works exactly how I told you here. So, somebody gets into a vehicle accident on the roads in St. George, they're going to call 911. It goes to sheriff's office dispatchers. The sheriff's office dispatchers validates that the call is either an emergency call, a non-emergent call. If it's a non-emergent call and it involves a traffic accident, then OSS is going to be dispatched to that call.
Do they have to be deputized or anything like that?
They do not.
Okay.
So they're not issuing citations. They're not. They have no arrest powers. They are unarmed. They are just simply there to process the actual scene. So imagine them almost as kind of a almost like an insurance company. They're going to come out there. They're going to take pictures. They're going to write the report. They're going to help facilitate whatever has to be facilitated to get you on your way. And their general turnaround time is about 30 minutes. So, so think about that when you start thinking about traffic accidents. I know for sure that I've been on the side of the road before where, you're waiting there because our law enforcement partners are so stretched, I tell people this all the time, that there was a time where, we expected our law enforcement partners to do a limited role, right? And now we expect them to do a million other things.
Right.
Right. And a lot of those things are civil actions. And that's all we're really trying to do is put the boots on the ground where they need to be with our law enforcement partners and take some of that burden off their plate.
Yeah, I want to say it was Fox 8 out of New Orleans had a story about them talking about how they're plugging in because NOPD was just undermanned. Understaffed. This was at a time where this was before the crime started to drop in New Orleans over the last year, well before that. But it was you're talking about, do you want your police officers doing this, or would you rather have someone who specializes in doing it?
That's correct. And I think it's also important to add that the sheriff is 100% on board with this. State police is 100% on board with this. To be quite honest with you, I think a service like this is going to catch on like wildfire throughout the country because I think it just makes sense. We have issues in recruitment for police officers. Any police agency will tell you this, right? So to me, this is a way to augment that. You augment your police force really by taking some of that workload that they've been required to do over time, and you give it to a group that specializes in that, right? OSS likes to use a graphic, and it's around the fact that they're a force multiplier. So in the New Orleans area, based off of the calls that they responded to, OSS equates to them as hiring of 17 full-time police officers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's right.
All right. And then that can come into play as well. We got about a minute and a half left with Dustin Yates, the mayor of St. George. I want to pivot off of OSS and just look to the future here. What's the back half of the year looking like for y'all?
So we're going to finalize the rest of our contracts. So we have some disaster contracts that are about to be finalized. Our big public works contract will go out probably the next day or two. So that's generally about a month process to get the bids in and review all those things. So we're looking at sometime around probably end of August, beginning of September, where St. George will really have everything in place, operationally speaking, that any city would have. It's going to look a little bit different, obviously, because it's a contracted model, but we're excited about it. We're excited for the transition to take place, and we're excited to be able to provide the very best services that we can to our residents.
And when do we start to see more of an emphasis on the school district or the push for a school district?
Yeah, great question. Obviously, we got through the legislature this spring, which was great. That was a huge shot in the arm for us. And now we have to look forward to an election. So the early thoughts for us is that we're going to bring in some folks. We're going to essentially build the school system. That way people understand what it is that they're voted on in April. And that's obviously a constitutional amendment. It's got to go to a statewide vote and pass the parish vote as well.
He is St. George Mayor Dustin Yates. I appreciate a couple minutes this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian.
Here comes news. Awesome. Yeah, when I first saw it on Tuesday, I was like, "Oh, this is going to get nuts." And then I started reading up on them, and NOPD's endorsement of them. But more than that, you had both the fact that NOPD, you have Fox News and NPR, both singing their praises. Like, how do you? Those two have never agreed on shit. So, like, somewhere in the middle, there's got to be.
You know who loves them more than anybody?
Who?
The cops.
Yeah.
The cops.
I know.
You know, that was our first question when we started talking to them is how have y'all integrated with the police departments that y'all, and they're like, they love us. Yeah. You know, and which I can understand. It takes a lot of that stuff off the table that they don't have to deal with anymore.
Yeah. Well, look at VRP's 150 officers short right now.
They're always going to be 150 officers short.
Right. But that number is more like 120 if you
Yeah.
implemented OSS.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Good stuff.
So,
Appreciate it.
all right, brother. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
How you doing, man? Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you. How you been?
I've been great.
Good.
How's Brian doing?
He's doing well,
Still
man.
loving his job?
Listen, he loves it.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
Absolutely, absolutely loves it. And found his calling.
That's great.
So
Coming up 2 weeks from tomorrow, me and the fam are we're hitting the road for an extended weekend. Friday, July 25th through Monday, July 28th. We are hitting the road in an RV from Miller's RV. Working title, Brian's Big Adventure. Although I don't know if that's going to stick. But the Louisiana Travel Association and Miller's RV are bringing you Brian's Big Adventure as we're hitting the road exploring Louisiana's natural beauty. Maybe hitting up an RV park or two. Listen for live updates. There's going to be plenty of content posted online on Talk 107.3's social media, our adventures, our misadventures, as we hit the road in an RV. We're doing the RV thing, courtesy of Louisiana Travel Association and Miller's RV. All right, you know how we do on a Thursday. It's time for Crimestoppers. Welcoming in Don Capola. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Brian. Good morning.
Good morning. You ever done the RV thing before?
I have not. And as you were mentioning this, I have a real good friend of mine who is into RVing. And,
Okay. Is that a mutual friend?
No.
Okay.
No.
All
But
right.
I'm not against it. So just let John and I know where we need to be, and we
Y'all want to pile on in?
we can pile
as
on
I
in.
understand. So the good folks, Jeff and his team over at Miller's RV are hooking us up. I believe it sleeps 11. There's only 5 in the Haldane clan, so
Hey, there you go.
we got room, man. We got room. We can bump 5 out to 7 real fast.
Look.
That's I snore. I'll let you know that right now. I snore.
But as
So-
big as these RVs are, my understanding, we'll just be on the other end.
We're not going the full bus. We're not going all Madden Cruiser on it. We're going.
Okay.
We're going with a model called the Mini Winnie.
I'll just stick
So-
some earplugs in.
That'll get it done. That'll get it done.
Well, that's
So-
good. That's gonna be exciting.
I had no idea Louisiana had so many great RV parks.
Ah.
We might just go right down I-12 to Robert.
well,
That's
and
that's
some people
actually that's
do.
what it's looking like
Look,
right now.
It's,
They got a great water park over there with the slides. And
I've
the pool
I've
and the-
heard good
Yep.
things about it.
Yep. So-
Again, I'm not into that, but
Yeah.
people who are just love it.
Well, yes, yeah. That's I got a buddy who's RVing all the time.
All the time.
All the time. So looking forward to it. It's going to be an adventure. It's
Well,
either
good.
I want a lot more Clark Griswold and a lot less Cousin Eddie. You know, that's
I can see you, Cousin Eddie, though.
no. Standing out in the bathrobe.
Uh,
Hey, I got another question for you.
yes,
Do you play basketball?
I did.
Uh-huh.
I'm not against it.
I'm not against it. Who's anti-basketball?
Well, I mean,
Greatest
some people
game ever
may be.
invented.
I just, I'm, as you know, and I'm sure the listeners, I'm more of a pickleball guy. Not that
Uh-huh.
I'm good at it, but
Well, you got a little height to you. I figured, you know.
well, but I have a lot of age to me as well.
That's
so
true.
I'm trying to do the best I can. But no, what,
Well,
what you got? We're gonna do basketball.
we got BRPD versus NOPD coming up on August 2nd.
That's gonna be interesting.
Our mutual friend Zach West is putting
yes.
this thing on. Yeah,
Zach's a great guy.
he really is.
Super guy, and knows his basketball.
Yes, he does. Been leaning on him for some time now on that front. But going to have Zach on, I believe, week after next to promo this thing. It's
Nice.
coming up on Saturday, August 2nd, high noon out there at St. Michael the Archangel High School. BRPD taking on NOPD
It's,
in basketball. We better represent, Don.
Oh, listen, don't even think that we won't because it's on.
And I believe there's other first responders going to be in on this.
I'm sure they will.
Fire department will be out there for sure. So
It'll be something good for Crimestoppers to put there.
let's get everybody in a room
Look,
together.
exactly.
Let's do this. Let's make the most out of it because anytime Zach puts his name on something, it turns out to be a success.
Oh,
So,
absolutely, absolutely. And with that being said, I mean, anytime something happens that law enforcement comes together, and no matter what agency, if there's a crisis, you become one.
Mhm.
So this just expands on that for a good cause
of course.
this time, but unfortunately, these people in Texas dealing with this horrific incident that they are. It doesn't matter what uniform, what badge, what differences you may have. You come together and serve a purpose in helping one another.
Yeah.
And this leads me into Sergeant Caleb Osworth.
Yes.
The news came out. The family had put out a statement. I'm sure everybody has seen or heard. If you haven't, he is still in a critical state, somewhat improving.
Improving daily, they said. The statement said daily.
But
Lost his
with
legs.
that, he had both of his legs amputated,
Yeah.
just above the knee, I believe it was. And, the amount of response from the community has been incredible, and no matter what your take on law enforcement is, you put that to the side. And this isn't the first case we have seen of this, but please continue to keep he and his family, in your thoughts and your prayers. And we hope he's out soon of the hospital and back to some kind of normalcy.
Yeah. The statement said the moment his legs were amputated, his vitals improved immediately. So
And this is a man that dedicated his life to serving and
100%.
was doing nothing except his job.
right.
And it's just tough to swallow thinking that, but we're grateful for all the support and the continued prayers and thoughts for he and his family.
Of course, absolutely. This is our Crime Stopper segment. So let's say we catch some bad guys. Who are we looking for today?
So let's start. I know we've been jumping to the Facebook page.
Yep.
So, Baton Rouge police detectives. There's a photo. It's not a great photo, but it's somebody could make out this individual. They believe on May 1st, this suspect approached a victim outside of a local restaurant. The victim is an elderly man who the suspect began to befriend, offered to buy lunch. So this man agreed to take him up on lunch, and maybe he just needed a friend. Maybe I don't know the victim's status as far as if he has family or not, but he's a nice guy who was approached by the suspect, agreed to have the suspect purchase him lunch. Through an extended lunch, the victim agreed to drive the suspect to a local bank for the suspect to withdraw some money.
Yeah.
Stopped along the way, picked up another individual believed to be an accomplice. They go to the bank. He withdraws a large sum of money, then convinces the victim.
Hang on. Pause. Goes to the bank, withdraws a large sum of money from the suspect's account.
From the suspect's account.
Right. The suspect has got the buy-in here.
Right.
This money, because this is where this
Right. It
continues.
gets at least a little confusing.
Yeah, no, I know.
So the suspect withdraws money in his own account, convinces the victim to drive him to his house, the victim's house,
Right.
to keep the money in a safe place.
Yes.
The victim has cash in his house himself,
Right.
takes the suspect's money, puts it in a safe hiding place along with his cash,
Yes.
which is then observed by the accomplice on where this is kept. The suspect then distracts the victim while the accomplice goes back and removes not only the money from the suspect, but also the victim's money.
Right. So, and I'm not making light of any of this, but just to put it in other terms, this goes from a lunch to he pulls the Clemenza
Yes.
and says, "I need you to watch this for me," and then it goes from there to the premise of The Hangover 3,
Yes.
where Mr. Chow steals all the gold.
Steals all the gold. And then before he's aware of this, they convince him to bring them back and drop them off at a local store.
Right.
The victim goes back to his residence, checks, and it's all gone.
Right. Right. So they pull this whole caper off without the guy even knowing.
Without the guy even knowing.
Right. I just the
And
level,
usually, Brian, you hear something like this through cyber, but this, and it's unfortunate that they prey on the elderly because they're vulnerable as far as I just need somebody to speak with, or hey, I don't have any family. This person is showing me some type of attention. So, what I say is if you have your parents living, your grandparent, whoever it may be, just talk to them and make them aware that unfortunately there are people like this that are out there to do these horrible things to them.
now, what's the likelihood that these two guys or these two people who scammed this person, what's the likelihood that they would try to repeat the same caper?
Well, and that's the thing, you
Because
never know.
from a Crimestoppers perspective, that's what people need to be on the lookout for.
They do, and it may be something that, hey, I got away with this once. Let me do it.
Let
again.
me run the scam again.
Let me run it again.
Yeah, that's because it's intricate to be sure.
Yes,
I mean, and it went off to plan.
it very much.
Like, because here's the good part, Don. This guy's only out money. You realize that if this senior citizen gets tipped off in any spot along the way during this scam, it goes from a scam to a violent robbery.
Yes, without
Like
a
the
doubt.
fact that they got dropped off at a local store and they made off with over $8,000 is actually not the worst case scenario.
No, not at all.
Him walking in while the accomplice was taking all the money, if he walks in while that's going on, you're talking about somebody who's in the hospital or worse.
Right, and that's a whole other story.
Who else we got?
So we're looking for Baton Rouge Police Department, Dwayne Jones. Dwayne Jones, 21 years old, on the charge of theft and monetary instrument abuse. The victim had put a check in the mail for $900. Later to learn the check was negotiated for the amount of $5,000 with Dwayne Jones's name on the check. It's unsure how Jones got a hold of the check. Okay, and this kind of goes to what we were just talking about, Brian.
Yeah, another.
Just check your accounts on a repeated basis, daily, weekly, whatever it is, just to make sure that what is in there and what charges are made, all your charges.
I would throw this out there. Stop writing checks.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not victim blaming here. By the way, how'd they get the 900 into 5,000? Just like,
Well, I haven't seen the check.
Okay.
But
my word.
it's with technology out there. It's quite easy these days. Also, East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office is looking for an Andre Weatherspoon, 41 years old, on the charge of second-degree murder, along with battery of a dating partner. This is an investigation that it was 2023.
Okay.
And his whereabouts are still unknown. So if you have any information on him, any other fugitive, Crimestoppers, 344-7867, the P3 Tips app. You remain anonymous and could be eligible for a cash reward.
He is Lieutenant Don Capola. We do Crimestoppers about this time every single week. Yeah, download that P3 Tips app. If some stranger asks you to sit down and break bread together, you don't know where that's going.
You don't know where it's
Snap
going.
their picture at the
Snap
beginning of
their
lunch.
picture.
Hey,
There
let's
you
get
go.
a selfie.
And the pictures that investigators have is not the best, but somebody could make out this individual or somebody has heard about this. Give us a call. You remain anonymous, and we appreciate you.
We appreciate you. Lieutenant Don
Thank
Capola. Always appreciate the time.
Thank you, Brian.
Quick break. Come back. Let's talk hurricane season next. Oh, my word. Yeah, I was trying to break down all the details. That story needs to be a movie. Hey, only problem is in the movie, the bad guys are going to be the good guys.
32 years, I've never seen nothing like that. And then trying to type it out where it's, because it can get confusing.
Oh. But yeah, he goes from lunch to Clemenza and Godfather 2 to Mr. Chow in The Hangover 3. It's and then had him drop him off. Help.
have conversation, help somebody. So
All he was trying to do was help. But the buy-in on the criminals' end, the buy-in.
it's gutsy.
Right. I mean, imagine, think if this had turned the other way. Think if the senior citizen wasn't the most upright standing citizen out there. Your suspect stops at the bank, gets some money out of the bank, says, I need you to watch this money, hang on to this for me. Senior citizen turns around and says, I got it, now you get out. That's
What can you do?
a hell of a caper.
But I'm looking forward to our event.
Hopefully it'll be fun.
Oh, you'll have a good time. You will have a good time. Y'all have a great day.
You do the same, sir. Always.
Oh, goodness. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Be
Thank
good.
you. All right.
Allegra, how many old Satchel strike out last night?
Yeah, it's hard to hear Don. Yeah, his mic's all the way. Can't go any further. Matt says it's the way Don talks. His voice drops. Yeah, it does. It does. We're back kind of early. We're back like 10 seconds early.
That's not because I broke 10 seconds early from 52. It is 7:55 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We'll have ABC News coming your way in just a little bit. Coming up next hour, State Senator Caleb Kleinpeter going to join us, and actor Justin Bartha going to join us as well. While I've got a quick second, let me remind you about the folks at NeuroJust. Who needs the folks at NeuroJust right now? Well, anyone suffering from anxiety or depression, or if you've got a family member or a friend suffering from anxiety or depression, NeuroJust is here for you with an innovative treatment called transcranial magnetic stimulation, aka TMS is what it's called, TMS. This is FDA approved. It is non-invasive. So often when you get that depression diagnosis, they just want to throw a prescription at it and call it a day. Let's put you on some pills and call it a day. We'll get you those antidepressants and we're all done here, right? No. Oftentimes, you'll get diminishing returns on the antidepressants. There are side effects with antidepressants. There are, the problems where sometimes they become addictive. Skip the prescription. If the prescription isn't working for you, or you don't want to be hit with the prescription, give TMS a good look. Basically, what they do is they'll use magnetic pulses to stimulate areas of the brain that are involved in mood regulation. They set up a series of appointments, and they've got a heck of a batting average. Patients typically are looking at response rates of 70 to 80% and full-on remission rates of 60 to 70%. Want to learn more? Check out neurojust.com, Neuro just, neurojust.com. All right, we're a month and 10 days into the hurricane season. We have seen thus far 3 named storms. It's been kind of light so far, right? We've had that Saharan dust crossing the Atlantic, keeping things dry. Well, there's other factors out there that have caused the folks at Colorado State University, the researchers over there, to decrease their hurricane season forecast. Experts are now predicting 16 named storms. That includes 8 hurricanes, 3 major hurricanes. Across the board, that's 1 left in each category from the initial prediction. CSU lead researcher Dr. Phil Klotzbach credits wind shear in the Caribbean here.
Typically, when you have strong Caribbean shear in June and especially in July, that tends to be associated with quieter hurricane season. So that's the primary reason for the reduction.
Okay. Is that shear going to stick around, though? That's the question, right? We get 2 full months in. We get to the beginning of August. or the middle of August when you just start seeing them churn off the coast of Africa. We've seen this in years past, where every day there's a new yellow or orange X coming off the coast of Africa. Once we get through August, I'll feel a lot more sure about where the prediction's headed. Researchers are still predicting slightly above average activity. This is due to the Atlantic temperatures, which are warmer than normal, but a degree or two off of where they were projected to be. Klotzbach says wind shear and the Saharan dust, that's deterred tropical formation thus far.
It's been very strong since early June. It looks to persist probably for at least the next 2 to maybe 3 weeks. After that, there are indications that the wind shear may relax potentially substantially.
Mm-hmm. Going along with that, once the wind shear does relax a little bit, the likelihood of storms being generated or sustained increases. By the way, researchers now say there's a 31% chance of a major hurricane making landfall along the Gulf Coast. Klotzbach says Colorado State will release their final forecast on August 6th when activity historically ramps itself up.
8 hurricanes is still a little bit above the long-term average of 7. And even if, say, we only end up with 4 or 5 hurricanes, we can't say where they're going to go. And obviously, all it takes is that one hurricane making landfall near you to make it a busy hurricane season.
Yep. It just takes the one. So no matter how many are predicted, it just takes the one to turn things sideways. I can tell you as it stands right now, there is 0 tropical cyclone activity expected over the next 7 days. There's nothing on the map right now. So every day we make it through hurricane season where we continue to have that news, there's nothing on the map right now. I'll take it. All right, we got ABC News coming your way. We'll check traffic. We will check weather. John's going to have This Day in History for us, presented by 5 Star Printing and Science, coming right up. We will have State Senator Caleb Kleinpeter next hour and actor Justin Bartha. That's all headed your way in just a little bit. Oh, don't forget. Don't forget, Foodie Friday's coming your way tomorrow, which is, of course, presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. Chef Peter Sclafani will be my guest. I'm going to get something off the printer. Ew. Oh, shit. Oh. .806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Hour 3 of Mornings with Brian Haldane coming your way right now. Brian here with you. John LaBeouf producing, starting off your third hour, or the third hour of the show, I should say, at 79 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. We got a lot more ground to cover this morning. State Senator Caleb Kleinpeter slated to join us in our next segment. Actor Justin Bartha at 8:40. Before we get you into this day in history, I do want to remind you, Louisiana Business Weekly podcast is your source for the latest in Louisiana's business landscape. Hosted by yours truly, though it's definitely not my show, proudly presented by Currency Bank. This weekly show, which is actually going to be off this week because it was a holiday week. Anyway, this weekly show dives into the trends, stories, and voices shaping the state's economy and the stories behind them. Listen and subscribe on all your favorite platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. You can also you can also catch every episode at talk1073.com. All right, it is time for This Day in History. Let's go.
All right.
What you got, John?
Well, according to legend, one way to persuade her husband, Lady Godiva rides naked on horse. Godiva. Apparently, she rides naked on horseback through Coventry.
Okay.
To persuade her husband, the Earl of Mercia, to lower taxes.
To lower taxes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Did it work?
Yeah. Well, London Bridge is falling down in 1212, the most severe of several early fires of London burns in Southwark.
Okay.
So that happened as well. 1919, U.S. President Woodrow Wilson personally delivers the Treaty of Versailles to the Senate.
All right.
So that's
Yeah.
that happened.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, let's see. Speaking of presidents, 1934, Franklin D. Roosevelt visits Colombia, becoming the first sitting U.S. president to visit South America.
Okay.
There we go. Music news here. 1965, Rolling Stones score their first #1 U.S. single with I Can't Get No Satisfaction.
All right.
Yeah.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's
it's
see.
a cover tune, but,
Yeah.
wasn't theirs.
Wait, it wasn't?
It's Otis Redding's.
Oh, wow. That's true.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
that is true. Yeah. Hey, speaking of music, 2018, Drake surpasses the Beatles' record of most singles in the Billboard Hot 100 with 7 from his album Scorpion against their 5. Drake, of all people.
Okay. Off one album, though. Off one album.
Yeah,
Beatles had a few more albums.
exactly.
Yeah.
That they did.
By the way, speaking of the Beatles, we announced it last hour.
Yes.
Paul McCartney coming to the Smoothie King Center this October.
Still out there killing it, huh?
Yes.
Man.
His last trip to New Orleans was 2019. So he'll be back this fall. Tickets, I believe, pre-sales early next week. We'll have all the details for you at talk1073.com.
I assume they're going to go quick.
Oh,
I assume that, yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Let's see. That same year, well, actually 2018, the Final Four boys and their coach are rescued from a cave in Thailand after being trapped there for 18 days by monsoon flooding. So, terrible. But
Unreal.
they were rescued. But
Okay.
yeah. Oof. Man.
This day in 1985, New Coke was introduced.
New Coke.
New Coke.
Okay.
It didn't last.
Oh, it didn't?
No. That's
Oh.
why we have, when you look at a can of Coke, it says Coca-Cola Classic.
Yeah.
Well, it used to just be Coca-Cola. Then they came out with New Coke. New Coke was ass. So now they've got Coca-Cola Classic. They went back to the original recipe.
Oh, man. Oh, my goodness.
We need to take another swing at New Coke. Can we get the New Coke recipe back?
Right.
Just try it out once in a while.
Yeah,
Just to remind us of how good Coca-Cola Classic is.
Yeah. Not
And
a
while
bad
we're at
idea.
it, can we grab some Crystal Pepsi?
Wow.
Remember when we thought Crystal Pepsi was a good idea?
Man, throwing it back.
Yeah.
Throwing it back.
It's like Pepsi,
Back
but I
to-
can see through it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's why they're Sprite, right?
Yeah.
Birthdays here. Fred Gwynn today.
Okay. I know a Fred Gwynn.
You know Fred Gwynn?
I've got a friend. Not the same Fred Gwynn.
Okay.
That is absolute legend at Our Lady of Mercy. Does the Behind the Veil tour.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he does. He's an amazing dude. He's an Axe brother.
Yeah.
Love him.
That's
He's
awesome.
awesome. But that's not the same Fred Gwynn. You're talking about Judge Chamberlain Holla.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You quote the movie all the time. That's awesome.
A what? A Ute?
Oh, man.
Different Fred Gwynn.
Yep. Let's see who else we got here. French theologian John Calvin today.
Yeah, saw that.
Arthur Ashe as well today.
Okay.
Let's see. Are we going to count Jessica Simpson in this?
Yes, we are.
Why not?
Yes, we are.
Sofia Vergara as well today.
Gay! We're still watching Modern Family.
Yeah, how's
So-
that?
We're almost through with season 10. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. Love
Season
that show.
10. You started from the beginning.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There's 12 seasons to it. So, I know.
That's commitment.
Yeah. Unbelievably good
That's
show.
commitment.
Boxer Jake LaMotta, it's his birthday. My boy Vinny Chase. Adrian Grenier, his birthday's today. You already had Jessica Simpson. Who else was on that list for birthdays?
Wyatt Russell as well.
Who?
Really good actor. Wyatt Russell, Kurt Russell's son.
Oh.
Really starting to make a name for himself out there.
Okay.
Really good stuff.
All right.
Ronnie James Dio as well today.
Okay. Big name in music right there. I got a couple more from the sports world.
Yeah.
As soon as my interwebs will let me move around here. Do. All right, here we go. The Hawk, Andre Dawson,
Okay, yeah.
Hall of Fame Cubs outfielder, Expos outfielder. Former Saints center Joel Hilgenberg. Former Ohio State and Florida head football coach Urban Meyer. Former Steelers and Bucks wide receiver and certifiably crazy person Antonio Brown. And Cam Jordan, still with the Saints. Cam Jordan, it's his birthday today too.
Nice. Yeah. As far as deaths go, I really just have one notable death. Mel Blanc.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't even see him on there.
Oh man. Yep.
So I got a couple here. We'll start off with Jelly Roll Morton. Died on this day in 1941. Not the current Jelly Roll.
I was
going to
say not the current one. Okay.
No, different Jelly Roll altogether.
Probably less face tattoos.
Yes, definitely,
Okay.
definitely fewer face tattoos. Better music too to go along with that. No, that was all that I had. That was it.
Let's see. Man, national days. Global Energy Dependence Day.
What?
I know. A National Kitten Day.
No.
Gospel Day.
Okay, that's
Hey.
closer. We're getting there.
We're getting there. I don't know. What else? Pick Blueberries Day. National Wyoming Day.
No.
National Pizza Day in Brazil.
I got National Pina Colada Day.
Hey.
I'm not down with any of these. All right, that's this day in history. Quick break. Let's recap the legislative session with Senator Caleb Kleinpeter next.
Are we? Is he? We calling it?
We're calling him.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Just sent them over to you.
Okay. Perfect.
I'll be back in a second.
Thank you. Hi, good morning, Mr. Kleinpeter. Hi, this is John with Brian Haldane. Doing well, sir. Looking to have you on here in just a few minutes. All right, thank you. Huh?
Found my garbage can.
Oh, where was it?
1045, the second floor studio for 1045. Woo! $817 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Time to check in with State Senator Caleb Kleinpeter. He's on the hotline right now. Caleb, how are you this morning?
Hey, good morning, Brian. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Doing very well as well. Of course, we're still unpacking the legislative session. A lot got done. There's one bill you had that I really want to take a look at, but we're going to hold off on that for a second because the overview. Give me the overview of what this year's session looked like.
I knew you were going to ask. You know, I listen to you quite a bit, and before you even ask, I'm going to go ahead and give it at least a B.
Okay.
You know, I've only had one. I've heard Alan Seaballs. I've only had one session under John Bell Edwards. Actually, three. I had a regular session, a special session with the insurance, and then the veto override session. But I think we're moving this state in the right direction. There were some really good bills that I think that we passed dealing with insurance.
Mm-hmm.
and since Governor Landry has came in, I think that we've addressed a good bit. We're going to continue to work on things as we learn to see what other states do and what we need to do within this state.
Well, you know what your question's coming next is. Do you think enough got done on insurance for us to actually see an effect in our rates?
I know you always ask that, and I'm going to, a lot of people are reluctant to I guess, say yes. You can't plant a tree and expect the fruit to be there immediately. I do think that with the bills that we passed, specifically the no pay, no play is a huge thing. For the first 100,000, you can't claim anything. The comparative fault by Representative Chenevert was huge. Anybody that could have had 95% at fault could still sue for 5%. And that's just insane. So we fixed that. The illegal immigrants, if you're an illegal immigrant, you can't collect on general damages. Mm-hmm. The direct action statute, and then the premium discounts for dash cams for the commercial vehicles. That's going to help a lot for commercial vehicles to be able to install that and then show with proof and evidence in the courtroom that a lot of these accidents were staged or was not the big truck's fault. And then, last year I got hit as a conservative Republican. I voted with the trial attorneys on the bill on a 2-year prescriptive period. And look, I know somebody right now that got into an accident last year and there was that 1-year prescriptive period. And if your body was not, back to normal or close to it, you would have to sue. And now with the 2-year prescriptive, you can go through all of your physical therapy or chiropractor or whatever else to try to get your body back to normal, to be able to settle and say, hey, look, we're back to normal, and this is what we can go for, versus sue for not knowing what the damages are for years to come.
Yeah, the 2-year prescriptive period one, I think a lot of people got lost in the weeds on that one because I don't know that it leads to more lawsuits. In fact, the other way around is within that second year, you have more reason to not sue. As
right.
opposed to looking at a 1-year deadline and saying, well, if we're going to get it in, we got to get it in.
Look, on a horrible accident, when you start talking about back and neck, to get those muscles back to normal, it takes sometimes longer than a year. And I agree. I think when you have that 1-year deadline and you're not back to normal, then you're going to sue not knowing what the outcome is going to be.
Well, look, Caleb, I'm 48 years old. If I sneeze wrong, it takes me a week to get my back in shape. So
look, I'm trying to get back in shape, and I'm complaining. I did a HIIT workout yesterday morning, and I'm all sore today. So I'm trying to get back in shape.
All right. What kind of HIIT workout?
I do anywhere. I either do the spin bike or I do HIIT, any full body, 15 to 20 minutes, just try to get the heart rate up.
Burpees are the worst.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cannot stand them. I'll do a spin bike all day long. I love a spin bike. I love that uphill resistance going on. I love a good high intensity spin workout. But you give me anything with burpee, when I have to rely on my joints, that's when it all goes downhill for me there.
Yeah.
You had a bill in this session, and we'll get back to the general overview in a little bit. You had a bill this session that caught my eye, and I'm curious as to what sparked it and where it goes from here.
Okay.
This was the one about mapping out the schools. Tell me what this bill does and why this got on your plate in the first place.
Okay, so I am chairman of Homeland Security, and previous chairman, Senator Milligan, started the School Safety Act. And what that did was the first year we appropriated $3 million to all the schools to be able to have the bleed kits and the training for the teachers on any kind of emergency situation, being tourniquet, blood, whatever it is, on an active shooter or anything like that. And then we also approved $5 million for grants for all of the schools to be able to request a $50,000 grant. And it kind of started out slow the first year, and then the second year, more schools are getting involved, to where the $50,000 went towards hardening of schools, anywhere from fencing, door locks, the glass that you can't shoot through, or anything pertaining to security. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to expand on it even more, to where I wanted a universal mapping system for all of our schools, to where our local law enforcement and state or anybody, let's just say you're in Iberville Parish and you decide to transfer to West Baton Rouge or Point Capee or anything like that, to where the mapping is going to be almost universal, to where if there's an active shooter or if there is a crisis, anything, heart attack, to where you can't, if you don't know that school layout, they can say, hey, it's a graphing system, whatever we come up with of J6, kind of like we did in Marine Corps on patrols and stuff like that, or any kind of buildings you would hit. You would know, you're not going to say, well, let me look for room 203. You're going to go to the graphing system and go across the top and then down the side, and that's where you have to respond to. It gives it's a tool for our law enforcement to be able to respond quicker to anything that happens in our schools. I mean, our children are sitting ducks in there, and we need to be able to respond as quickly as possible.
Does this include, like, I hate talking about it, so morbid, but like where the students and teachers would congregate to make sure that they're on lockdown as well?
We were supposed to have a actual meeting today at GOSEP, and it got postponed, and that could have been talked about. We're still kind of working on this. We passed the law to be able to address it and to I asked for funding. It did not get approved, but what we did was, I mean, even with the $50,000, the schools do have the opportunity. I think it's going to range around $4,500 per school. So if the schools if they want to say, hey, I received the $50,000 with this bill being passed, they can utilize it in a mapping software system.
Okay.
But yeah, all that is going to be mapped out, the critical areas, and then where they need to go. That should be in that should be in the school's local plans already on where the students should congregate.
The effective date for your bill is August 1st of this year. What's the implementation date? What kind of deadline are we putting on making sure everybody's up to speed on this?
We did not make a deadline. I wanted to, the funding, we've cut back a lot this year.
Yeah.
And hold on 1 second, Brian.
You're good. We're talking with State Senator Caleb Kleinpeter about his work during the recent legislative session. And just this one bill in particular, I found just amazingly important. It's always a tough subject to talk about, but once you could tackle it as a subject, you know we're doing good for our kids within the state. So
yep.
You were mentioning that funding's getting cut in a lot of different places.
We didn't have the funding on a lot of things this year. We're trying to slow the growth of government. This is one that I didn't like to see not funded, but I think with the $50,000, with the $5 million that we've been funding the School Safety Act, there's some money in there. I know Senator Milligan, hopefully he's not listening and getting upset that $4,500 is coming out of the $50,000 going towards mapping, but I don't think he'd get really upset about it. Whatever tools that we can give our schools to make them safer,
right,
is the ultimate goal.
Got just a couple minutes left with Caleb Kleinpeter. I know oftentimes bills will make their way through the process that you're helping out on, but don't necessarily have your name on. Give me an example of some work that you got done this session that wouldn't have your name attached to it.
Brian, that's I don't know. This year I feel like I wasn't as effective with the bills that I carried. I picked up chairman of Senate and Governmental Affairs once Cleo Fields won Congress, and that was a lot of work. The staff was stripped. He took them up to D.C., which I don't blame him. So we had to hire new staff, and kudos to them and to the staff that's been at the Capitol for years to be able to train those. I hired two, a young lady and an attorney that didn't have any experience in this, and they rocked it out this year. So I'm very proud of them and very thankful for the experienced staff at the Capitol to help with that. It took a lot of time for me to go watch House and Governmental Affairs bills that I had to schedule in Senate and Governmental Affairs. So, it wasn't like I was a state rep for 12 years and then came over to the Senate. So I've only been there 3 years. So it took me a lot of time this year to go watch those bills, to know what the substance of them were, to know whether to even schedule them, hear them, or ask certain questions and either pass them out of committee or let them die. So I feel like that took a lot of my time this year. I did carry some election integrity bills for Secretary Landry. We passed a lot of bills this year. There was a drone bill that I carried for Galley that was important. We had some issues with drones that we couldn't detect. They were flying over some very critical infrastructure of ours in the state, and there were some gray areas on whether our local officials could take them down. And so we went ahead and got with the feds, and we worked with our AG and drafted a bill up and passed it this year to where if we can't locate those drone operators and lock onto them, then we can take them down.
If
they're flying over.
Oh, go ahead.
No, just if they're flying over our critical infrastructure. I mean,
right.
These were some huge drones that are 4 to 5 feet. These drones. I mean, you think about it. Even in I hate to even. I guess just my infantry background. I think of some of the worst case scenarios with terrorists. And think about a crowd or New Orleans with Mardi Gras, and you can carry some very bad toxic stuff with a drone and go drop it over people. If we have barriers up and people are breaking those barriers, we should be able to protect the public.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you know how regularly the lieutenant governor comes on the show, says if you can cook it, shoot it, dance to it, drink it, we have a festival for it. I mean, the amount of time that we congregate together as a people, that is absolutely an imperative.
Yep.
All right, last one before I get you out here. All right.
Okay.
Let's rewind to day one of the session. I believe you said you would like more than 5 bills the 5 non-fiscal bills during a fiscal session. Looking back on that, hindsight being 2020, did you really want to take on more workload?
That bill, I got somebody to carry that bill for me, and he came to me, Senator Wheat, and he was like, "Man, I'm getting a lot of backlash for this." I said, "Why don't you?" I said, after seeing all the work, I said, "Why don't you park that? I think we need somewhat of a break and give our staff break too every other year to where it was a lot. This year was a lot, even though I didn't have any tough bills this year. I carried some tough bills for House reps, but this year was kind of slow. I wanted to get my feet under me.
Yeah.
Being chairman of Senate and Governmental Affairs, I'm working on some bills already for next year, so we shall see.
Well, then we'll talk soon to map those out. In the meanwhile, I always appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Brian. Have a great day.
You do the same. East State Senator Caleb Kleinpeter. Here comes news. I had to mess with him a little bit. He's really, really good, by the way. He stays busy, so it's tough to get him on the air. Yeah. But once he's on the air, he's really freaking good. Let me knock out a live read before you get to Justin Bartha.
Okay.
Marriage. All right, guys, what's going on Facebook? What's new with the crew? Anyone? 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 All right, it's time to get a look at your forecast real quick. We got another 50-50 shot at rain today, and that's basically what it's going to be for the foreseeable future. You know how we roll in the summertime here in Louisiana. Now, this is good news. Your high today is projected to get up to only 85 degrees. That's awesome. When's the rain going to hit? Looks like early afternoon. Oh, I should say 2 to 3 this afternoon, and then again in the early evening hours, like around 6 o'clock. Overnight low tonight gets down to about 73. Tomorrow we'll be back up to 90 degrees. There's a 60% chance of rain in the forecast for tomorrow. I've been scrolling through trying to get that hour by hour to see when that one's coming in, and it looks like it'll be during the afternoon as well. So talk night at the Rougarou game looks like it, as of now, looks like it's a go. Tomorrow's high 90, Saturday's high 92, another 60% chance of rain. Sunday we got a high of 91 with a 40% chance of rain. Monday a high of 91 with a 30% chance of rain. Tuesday a high of 93 with a 40% chance of rain. And then next Wednesday, it really ramps up with a 70% chance of rain. Right now, sunny and 81 in downtown Baton Rouge. Quick correction. I said Satisfaction was Otis Redding's. Otis covered the Rolling Stones' Satisfaction. I was mixing up Satisfaction with Respect.
Oh,
that was on me. Oh yeah, Otis covered that one, and the Live from Whiskey a Go Go CD from Otis. God, he nails that song too. Anyway, shout out to Galen for pointing that out. My apologies, misattribution. I hate misattribution. And I got that one wrong. That was the Rolling Stones song originally. So we're going to get to Justin Bartha in just a minute. I do need to remind you about the folks over at Vex European. Check them out online at vexeuropean.com. If you drive a European vehicle, odds are your make of European vehicle is available or available for service at Vex European. Odds are they have a master level technician for you at Vex European. For example, I drive an 18-year-old Mercedes-Benz. Okay? They got a Mercedes tech that works on my car. Takes a lot of TLC and, as I like to call it, Vexpertise to make sure my car's running top notch. And it is because of Vin and his team at Vex European. If you drive a Jaguar, about 2 weeks ago, the Jaguar dealership here in Baton Rouge shut down. If you drive a Jaguar and would go to the dealership to have your car serviced, you're not out of luck. You just move on over to Benefit Drive and Vex European because they have a Jaguar tech for you. And not just the big repairs. Get your everyday maintenance, your regular routine maintenance done with Vex European. See, what they do there is they make sure that they're tracking your vehicle's history the same way your doctor has your chart. That way, as things age, as your car ages, they're able to keep up with it. You need this because of this. They're able to follow it the same way your doctor follows your chart. Check them out online at vexeuropean.com. Oh, I've been looking for you for some time now. You know him from The Hangover. I love him as Riley Poole, but he's got a great new film coming out called Nuked. Justin Bartha, welcome aboard. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, Brian. How you doing?
Doing very, very well. This movie, let's dive right in.
Yeah.
Your character's so chill. Your character's so relatable. I love the whole cast. What brought this thing together, though? Is this as a 48-year-old? This Nuked is such a perfect story to tell. I live vicariously through y'all. What brought it together?
Yeah, I got sent this script by Dina Kashper during the pandemic about a group of friends, I guess we could say middle-aged, that get together for a birthday party and find out that a nuclear missile is headed straight for them. And I think, it was just so funny. And then, during when everything was shut down, Dina and I would kind of talk every night and infuse kind of all of these stuff that we were going through in our own relationships and our friends were going through in their relationships, and it became a really relatable, a funny look at how to find some comedy in tragedy that we are all kind of going through.
Infused is a good word to use right there, because while the entire cast is awesome, Natasha Leggero kind of steals every scene she's in. Y'all play this thing so well. Getting into character, how much method acting was going on here?
How much weed were we smoking?
That's basically what I'm asking. Yeah.
Well, we had to, it was mostly pretend, but I think, yeah, that's, the Natasha is so funny, and she plays a cannabis chef, and one of the things that my character does, who loves to also partake, is organize a cannabis dinner for everybody, which when you find out there's a nuclear warhead headed straight for you, it certainly adds a little flavor when you're stoned to the gills.
Yeah, and as the highs settle in and kind of taper off a little bit, the level of comedy just goes up and down. And this isn't just about the comedy, though. There's a lot that's relatable, as we're all making our way through our life's journeys.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's kind of what I was saying when Dina and I would talk. It was kind of like these therapy sessions, because everyone that we knew during the pandemic, all these couples were changing and evolving. Some were getting separated and divorced. Some were opening their relationships. Some were getting back together. Some were, so it was just like there was, when we all felt like the world was ending, what we were really talking about are the relationships that we were surrounded by, and when people were starting to be real with each other, telling the truth, what they really wanted, what their dreams were really, and that's kind of what the movie ended up being. It was, this high concept comedy, but at the end of the day, it's all of these old friends who known each other for a long, long time, but maybe didn't know the true people that they were.
Got just a couple more minutes here with Justin Bartha. He's the star of the new movie Nuked, but I want to broaden this out a little bit. Every time I have someone on, I like to talk about, so you're on in Baton Rouge, Louisiana right now. I like to talk about how we dabble in the film industry as well, a little bit of Hollywood South going on.
Oh, yeah, I've been there. I've shot in Baton Rouge.
You have shot in Baton Rouge. You have shot in New Orleans. You did as Riley Poole, of course, you did the TV version of National Treasure, was right here at Celtic Studios. Rewind the clock back to Failure to Launch. Let's talk about it, man. Stepping out of Hollywood, as I'm going through your IMDb, you've been everywhere, man. You're not restricted to film in one place here.
No, we go where the taxes are. But no, I have some amazing memories in certainly New Orleans, and definitely recently in Baton Rouge, where we shot an episode of the National Treasure show. But yeah, Failure to Launch, we had the greatest time shooting there. It's just a really fun place.
Talk to me a little bit about stepping outside, though. When you're not in your traditional L.A. or New York or whatever, though. Or how did we do? Grade us. How are we as a place to film?
Amazing. I mean, listen, the whole point is to try to like travel around and show different parts of the world. So, I mean, the crews were so great. It was top notch. I mean, listen, nobody shoots in L.A. anymore. That's one of the problems. So, I think you know, you got New Orleans is especially New Orleans, but Baton Rouge as well. It was so wonderful.
Really need to get Riley Poole back out there again. Please tell me there's another national treasure in the works.
I mean, we've been trying to get it off the ground. It's not easy, but it's still in the works. You know, there's people are it's pushing a heavy rock up a hill, but there's a script and there's definitely I know there's people that want to do it. So if the stars align, hopefully in the next couple of years we can get it off the ground.
See, we get you right back here in Louisiana. Y'all can look for Gene Lafitte's treasure. He's a pirate. There's all kinds of backstory here. It would be great for Riley and Ben Gates, man. I would love to see that happen.
I love that idea. From your mouth to Bob Iger's ears.
I will push it. We got just a couple minutes left. What is next for you? What do you got cooking right now?
Well, we're trying to get people to watch this Nuked movie, an actual comedy movie. When was the last time you saw a comedy movie for adults? July 11th, and then I did another comedy. We're trying to get people to laugh. I think we've all been really serious for a while, so I'm trying to get some comedy out there, and that's another movie called Miracle on 74th Street that'll come out next year. And then I'm a dad, trying to be a good dad. I run a business with my wife called Be the Method, which is a great fitness app. If you want to get healthy, you got to have a side hustle out here. So that one is super successful. My wife Leah Bartha is brilliant. So we're trying to dabble in it all.
Bring it back around.
Laughter and fitness is the two contributions I can make to get people feeling good.
Bring it back around to Nuked before we get you out of here. And Justin, I greatly appreciate a couple minutes of your time this morning. With Nuked, you talk about the comedy. It's a smart level of comedy, but you don't shy away from the physical as well. Is that something that you have had in your arsenal the entire time?
Tell me the
physical comedy.
Physical comedy, yeah. I mean, we'll do anything to make you laugh. I mean, this movie is silly. I mean, it certainly it tackles some big themes. And I was talking about how it it sounds serious where we're talking about relationships, but this is a goofy, fun, R-rated stoner comedy. I mean, that's we go through it all. Physical comedy, it gets stupid, it gets smart, it's all over the place, but we just want to make you laugh.
I think every man in America, or every man who sees this movie will relate to you so well. Like every time Anna Camp's character wants to take another selfie, just that eye roll just bulges through the screen.
Yeah, it's one of the many themes is the relationship with the phone, and and what they do is part of the party that we plan is we take away everybody's phone to try to actually connect with each other. So, that was part of that is actually based on my relationship with my wife. When we were making this movie, she started to really blow up as a kind of a fitness influencer and stuff. So she was always on her phone. So a lot of that's, the relationship between Anna Camp and myself was infused with my real relationship.
And then all the while, Anna Camp, I don't want to spoil anything, but she plays a podcaster, so she's got to keep that social presence up. We understand both sides of the struggle, so I appreciate the concept there, throwing them all in a box and putting them away.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's something we all struggle with. It's very odd that we live in a time where the two things that as a human race, identify with the most is technology, like being addicted to your phones, and nuclear war.
Very true. Also true. The movie is called Nuked. It is hilarious. It is fantastic. He's Justin Bartha. Thank you for a couple minutes this morning, man.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
8:49 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. That was a lot of fun. I got the chance to catch up with him. It was actually last Friday when I talked to him. So the movie's called Nuked. He crushes it. I don't want to spoil anything that's in the movie, but it's just give it a shot. Give it a look. It comes out. It's officially released tomorrow, and it is well worth your time. Quick check your money now. We'll check traffic one more time. We'll close it out next. Oh, shit. 856 Talk 1073 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Before we close out with the outside in, first of all, thank everybody who's on the show today. Justin Bartha was awesome. State Senator Caleb Kleinpeter, Lieutenant Don Capola, St. George Mayor Dustin Yates, Haggai Davis. Great list of guests today. We will pick that back up again tomorrow. We'll have Lake Urgent Care on, Petty G stopping by. Ronnie Rance will be on tomorrow, and I believe Chef Peter Sclafani is good to go. I don't know, we'll get one more confirmation from him before that, but he'll be good to go for our Foodie Friday, presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. Also, before we get to the outside in, I want to remind you about the folks over at Breck. Breck.org is the home base there. Breck.org is the home base online. From there, you can find out everything that Breck's got going on, and they've got so much going on. Get a listing of their facilities. Learn a little bit more about what they do overall. They've got, all the parks that you know and love, Highland Road, City Park, and the like. But what about the Bluebonnet Swamp Nature Center? Maybe check that out as the summer wears on. Get out there, get a look at the swamp that's like right in the middle of the city. In the horses, the Far Park Equestrian Center is out there. You've got the Highland Road Park Observatory, Magnolia Mound Museum. You can get a good look at Magnolia Mound's magnificent, by the way. It's not to be too alliterative, but Magnolia Mound is magnificent. It's a great walk back into history from a very real perspective. And then check out the calendar of events as well. Along with all the sports, they've got all kinds of other events going on, like literally every day. Literally every day. You could find things from ceramics to aquatic therapies. Check it out at breck.org. All right. The outside in, let's go. Well, you heard Justin Bartha there. How about that? How about the old, how you like filming in Louisiana? He says we go where the tax breaks are.
Hey,
pay attention to that. If you want the business at all, you got to have the tax breaks. If you want the business to pack up and go away, that's the best way to do it. They go where they can make money. All right. FEMA. We're talking about FEMA in the outside end. They're looking to make some major reforms to the Federal Disaster Response Agency. You heard about this in news from Louisiana Radio Network. Governor Jeff Landry was at a big meeting with FEMA yesterday. Says the president's goal is to have a competent and functional agency, whether that's FEMA or it falls under some kind of different format.
He recognizes that there needs to be efficiencies in the program because every dollar that's either fraudulently taken or ill spent means someone else doesn't get the services that they need.
And it's overgrown its britches. I mean, I used to joke with Congressman Graves that it's become the federal everything management agency. Reforms were made following Katrina and Rita back in 2005. Landry says the agency still requires too much red tape when it comes to providing financial relief following a disaster.
I just got a letter from someone who's dealing with a Hurricane Laura issue. The airport in Chenault in Lake Charles has been waiting on $70 million of mitigation dollars from a storm that occurred in 2020.
Unreal. And we got folks in our own backyard who are still reeling from the 2016 floods. I mean, how close are we to a 10-year anniversary on that? That's going to do it for today. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Moon's up next. All right, Facebook, we're going to see y'all tomorrow. Later.